Okay, more on off-brand English stuff. This time we're going to look at some move orders, some transpositions to go along with it. So D4, knight F6. So the immediate E3. And this is one of those passive approaches. But before I look at that, keep in mind again, if knight F3, we grab and go into our hedgehog. So the other way with this E3 stuff, I'm going to grab, I'm going to play D5. And we're going through the motions. Keep in mind like what we saw in the previous variation where we looked at bishop G5 here with specifically the Dominguez game. It was fire. So what if instead of bishop G5 they take straight away? Tickle tickle on the knight, so we take. In between move on the F7 pawn, and this is the memory marker. We don't want to leave our knight on C3 because when he takes, his D4 pawn is going to be supported. We bring our knight back and then play E6. And that main memory marker is because that's going to be an isolated pawn and it's going to be weak. We've got the bishop pair. Both sides have a weak pawn. Typically, the better player is going to win this type of game. I'm going to quickly go through the rest of the moves here between Geary, So, 2017, Blitz, and I like this move F6 a lot. I mean, we're taking away the forward squares of the knight, and the pawn structure is very flexible for the future. I like that. So, no problems really for both men. Pawn structure is completely perfect. For the price of the pawn, we get to work some and have a little bit of fun. I'm not quite sure who's better here. I mean, white's got a pawn. Not anymore. And I can understand why the two men agreed to make a draw here because everything's liquidating. But solid. There are definitely other opportunities, but personally, when I see a line like this where black isn't worse at any point in time, you gotta respect that. So that was lines with knight F3. We've covered those in detail now between this and the previous video. Well, what if they mix up the move order some with bishop G5? Well, the main point of bishop G5 is to clip this knight in order to make our D5 pawn weak and have it fall. And in the previous variation, a major memory marker was defending that E6 pawn in a specific way. So we get right back to it with bishop E6. So let's see if there's similarities if C5. G6, bishop G7. And keep in mind with those doubled pawns, we're looking to hit D4. So we're also looking to hit D4. Both of these, the structure's the same. That's the weakness. That's the focal point. That's where we're focused in the position. Knight E4, unleashing the eye of our dragon bishop upon D4. He comes back to defend, and now black's got momentum. I like the way things are going in this position. White's having to stave him off here. Playing against the pawns, looking to get that open C file. A file automatically open for our A8 rook. Now after H6, we're taking away that G5 square, potentially from a knight, to get our bishop to move. Pressure, pressure. We've got the bishop pair again, and we've got a target on A2 to work with. First, we're going to defend. Then we're going to hit the target. Then the rest of this is just cleanliness. We know what that means. Right next to godliness. B4, breaking it down. Give me that. Slowing you down all day long here. Bishop's on a great square. We just keep milking the targets, and we got to make sure these pawns aren't going anywhere. And we got passers too, boss. We just did the little zigzag there, repeating a couple times to get some extra time in the game. And now they're rolling. They hating. It's about that time. And you just can't even with guys like this. It was Grandmaster Ivanov, I believe in the Finnish Championship in 2009. After our key memory marker again, bishop e6, we see the move a3. Back to g6. Same structures, Same plans. He's mixing it up with takes on d5. We take with a knight. And this has the feel of a Tarrasch, colors reversed, where I'm looking at like rook c8, knight a5, you know, and owning the c4 square. And then all of a sudden, that's a Tarrasch, colors reversed. Knight b3 is such a beautiful square for the pony. Give me that. Pawn in hand. No problems. You can have that. I'm going to take the extra development. White is behind all of black's pieces. Look alive. They're monsters. Tickle, tickle. Sure. I'll sit on the blockaded pawn. Give me that. You have the B pawn. I'm just going to keep giving you weaknesses. Black is definitely in the driver's seat. We got the outside past A pawn. No taking on F7. And once this trade down takes place, that outside A pawn and the pin is too much. That was Tim Aviv Feller and Kantiman Sisk from the Olympiad in 2010. And that's what I've got for you in the offline English. Keeping it clean, keeping it simple, looking at the other stuff in the Czech Benoni. Because most of the time, I feel like there's so many people who are afraid of the mainline Benoni that you need to study this just as much as you do the main line. So I thought I'd give you guys some flavor, something for your time for the channel.